As developers, we first come up with the thing we want to build, then we build it, and then we realize we need to figure out who is it for. You can't do marketing until you understand who it is for, why they would want to buy whatever you're selling, how does it fit into their work or life. You can't. So we're not doing marketing. What we are doing is a lot closer to sales. I call it exploratory sales, where we're having these conversations and we're navigating to find the problem and then maybe offer a solution and then maybe ask for some money. It just doesn't happen in one conversation. There are actually 5 types of conversations here that you can have in this process. The first conversation is an exploration conversation. I don't know anything about this topic. I'm new to forestry, to dentistry, to ultrasound studios, to whatever. I just don't know enough about the space. I want to ask questions about the space. I want to understand the players, the type of businesses, what kind of things do you guys spend money on, and so on and so forth. The second type of conversation is we're exploring problems. We're looking for a problem. We already understand the scope. We understand what the business is about, either from our own knowledge or because we had a few conversations with people in the space. If we take dentistry, for example, so none of us here are dentists, and if Victor talks to 2 or 3 dentists online or in a call, he will now know how an office works, how scheduling happens, like what kind of software they use, what kind of problems they have, maybe what types of dentists and dental offices there are, get the lay of the land, and have glimpses of possible places where there might be problems. Maybe there's a scheduling problem. So you explore problems. And what you're trying to do in these conversations is create a problem hypothesis. I believe, or it seems, that there's this kind of problem. It doesn't have anything to do with any solutions. Again, if we take dentists, some dentists seem to have a problem with no-shows and cancellations, and other dentists seem to have solved that by overbooking. And there's something here. Like, how come this obvious solution of overbooking is not used by all dentists? What's going on there? It is an obvious way to solve it. Why do some people not do that? There's an indication of a problem there. It's not yet a problem hypothesis, but it is a direction. More problem conversations about this will reveal, is this a real problem? Is this a fake problem? Is this a technologically potentially solvable problem? Is this unrelated to that? Does it happen more in certain areas than others, or for certain types of dentists versus others, big clinics, small clinics, so on and so forth? Understand the scope of what you're talking. Once you have an understanding of the problem or a hypothesis of the problem, you start to work towards a solution. Working towards a solution is something we are more comfortable with as solution people, as engineers. Solutions conversations start with, so what if you had an AI that did this kind of thing and would resolve it in that kind of way? Maybe that's cool. Maybe that's, oh no, I don't trust AI, right? You're looking for like how people respond. Oh, I wouldn't want to do it with a computer. I would like to do it with pen and paper. And okay, cool. So it starts there, and it progresses all the way through a little sketch on the back of an envelope, to maybe a Figma prototype, to maybe an MVP, maybe even beyond that. Because a solution conversation, these conversations are closer to what we're used to. These are like if you work at a job and you build things for a living within a company, usually the conversations you're having as an architect or an engineer are like that. It's, by the way, out of the 5 conversations, it is the only type of conversation that is familiar. The 4th conversation, now that you have an MVP or an idea of what a solution would look like, is objections conversations. What would be your biggest objection to, for example, paying $50 a month for this? Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's not the right time. Oh, it's not for me. Oh, I don't know if I could use it. Oh, maybe if it was on a tablet and not on a computer. Like, you can hear all of these things that basically reflect back on the problem you've identified and the solution you've identified. Because the assumption is both are wrong in some ways, in small ways, in big ways, for some type of person in some niche. So when you have these conversations about objections, you refine the problem, you refine the solution, you refine your understanding of what's going on. And when you understand the objections, then you're ready for sales. A sales conversation is a conversation that ends with the exchange of credit card details. Could be pre-sale, could be a sale of something you already have. You'll note that it's not one conversation of every type. And it's not really clear, because if you talk to someone about the exploratory conversation the first time. And you get into it, you notice a problem and you ask a few questions about a specific problem, then you're like in problem conversation territory. And maybe if the problem is really clear, you veer into solution conversation territory as well within the same conversation. It does happen. But in general, it's a couple of conversations to explore, maybe 2 or 3 conversations to figure out the problem, maybe another 2 or 3 to explore the solution. There may be like 7 to 10 conversations overall within a topic. There's like a mix of things. But it is important to know what kind of state you're at. Are you trying to understand what you're even dealing with? Are you trying to find the right problem? Are you trying to find the right framing for a solution for that problem? Are you now working through objections because like you have something, but people are still not quite clear on what it is? Or are you just trying to close some sales? And there's just no way around that.